Well, good afternoon. Figured I better give you a little update. I've been kind of tied up this week. We've been bitten by the big Chrysler Dodge Jeep 4.7 liter V8 dropped valve seats. I've been working on that most of the week in all my spare time. And that's going to be an ongoing thing here for the next few days. But ended up and dropped a valve seat in one of the heads on number 8 exhaust valves. So I'm not sure if I'm going to repair that, if I'm going to replace the head. I think I'm leaning towards a remanufactured head. So I've already got them on my little order sheet there. So we'll see if that's what I end up and do. Anyway, little update. Today was a casting day. If we can't tell by all the sweat rolling off of me. And 3 out of 4 castings were good castings. I have another molding box side. That gives me a grand total of 2, so I've still got 6 more of these to cast. I have 1 box. So as I said before, I'm not sure if I'm really thrilled with these boxes or not. They're, I think, a lot of work for what you get out of them, although I put a lot of work into my little wooden boxes too. So we'll get one done and decide if we like it or not. I think it's a neat little design, but do I want to spend enough time to produce several of these boxes? And in this size, I think I made 3 different sizes of sides. This is the middle size. I've got some smaller ones that I was going to do and build the first set out of that. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to build the first set square out of this size right here. And I've got some bigger ones too, but I don't know how much time and effort I really want to devote to that. But anyway, we'll get one set done. Follow along with that. Have another follower rest pattern that I cast today. Now I've got 2 of these. They're going to get machined out. I'm going to mount them on a match plate, and they'll be the follower rest for the 6-inch lathe. I'm not going to produce these. I'll probably finish out one of them, but I think I'll just do castings. And if you guys want to finish out your own, well, I'll have castings available. For right now, they'll be in aluminum. Once I start casting cast iron, I may do them in cast iron. In all honesty, I don't know that there's a real need to have them in cast iron, for the light duty uses they're going to get on either the 6, the 10, or the 12-inch lathe. I think aluminum will be plenty strong for them. So I'll make that decision down the road, but we'll do a few castings and see how they work out. So those are going on. Have a couple more arbor supports that I got cast up today. Have 2 more out of that. I'll be machining on them this week. I think I've got either 3 or 4 good castings that I'll machine out and get them back on the website. Anyway, I'll get those loaded and they'll be there. Been working on patterns for the little grown-up Quorn tool and cutter grinder a little bit. Making a little bit of progress on the Atlas index centers. I'm working on the tailstock spindle for in the back end, or for in the tailstock end, and we'll get that machined out the rest of the way. I've got to bore it and cut the Morse taper in it, and then it's pretty much done, I believe. What else do we have? Sand molar parts. I have another hunk of steel on the way, supposed to be here tomorrow, or tomorrow's the expected delivery. That's turned into more of a hassle than I really thought it was going to be, trying to source one of those, but for a reasonable cost. But I think there's one on the way, hopefully. So it'll be here. Pouring shank for the last little crucible. I did that video on the lifting tongs, and this is the pouring shank for it. So and I've got a little stand for it. So this end will set on a fire brick, and I've got a support that supports it here. So it'll be self-standing basically. Pull your crucible with the tongs, set it down in here, push it down to lock it, and do your pour. So made it interchangeable. It just clamps onto the end of the shank, so I can use the other larger shank that I've got and any future ones that I choose to do. So got that going on. And what else do we have? Been busy. Had a squirrel cage fan that I've had sitting that I've never used. I acquired it someplace. Good little squirrel cage fan. I was going to set it and exhaust the air, or exchange the air here in the shop when I had the foundry going, when the furnace was going, and I dug it out and made sure it was free, oiled it all up, and fired it up today. And whoever had it before me has the motor mounted on the wrong side. It turns the wrong way and doesn't produce any air. So I started converting it back over. I'm just going to switch the motor to the other side of it and set up the spindle. But how they did anything with it, I don't know. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Flea-based stuff, I've been watching the computer, and I've picked up a couple of things, a couple of little gear cutters, things like that. For on the Atlas mill, I've been tooling the Atlas mill more and more. So, as a matter of fact, part of the cutters that I've got are things that I'm going to use on the arbor supports for the mill. So at least part of them will be machined there. So that's happening. The work stop, or the carriage stop on the Atlas lathe, and the carriage stop is the same for the 6, the 10, and the 12 from the way I understand it. They're still trying to get big bucks for them. The match plate for that is done. I think I can cast either 6 or 8 at a time, and I'm waiting to start casting those. I built a new flask for those, and it's not specifically for those, but there's several things that I'm doing that I don't need the depth of some of the flasks that I've got. So I've built a smaller molding flask for that, a shallower molding flask, and I don't have flask hardware to go on it. I've got to cast some more. I don't have any narrow pin guides, so I've got to cast up. It'll take me 2 casting sessions the way I've got them set up, because I've got one complete set of the larger and the smaller flask hardware that I built, and I just need the smaller hardware for on this smaller flask. So, and I tried to cast one of those today, and I shorted that casting out of the 4 that I did. So it'll take me 2 more casting sessions, and I'll have flask hardware for those, and then we'll start seeing those castings come out. So anyway, hopefully you find this a little bit informative. Thanks for hanging around. If you stuck with me to the end of all my little rants, and comments or suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below. If you haven't hit that subscribe button and find my little antics enjoyable here, well, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button. And if you hit the bell notification, you'll know when I put out a new video. Have a good weekend, and thanks for taking the time to watch.